you for joining me. This is Stanley Leong and welcome to the Living Room on 938 Live. I have with me this hour a gentleman who in his professional capacity practices in the field of financial planning. Now he's also a Toastmaster and past president of the Apelles Toastmasters Club. And despite his credentials, I've not invited him really to talk about the art of public speaking nor the science of financial planning, although these are important to know. Now, he is setting aside this hour to chat with me about why an inspiring bestseller he's written titled Live Well, Love Much and Laugh Often is out. Well, are you doing all that? Some of that? Or none of that? Well, why are these so important to him and why does he recommend you that you do those as well? Well, time now to hear his thoughts and motivations for the book and also his hopes for you through this book. My guest this hour is Apelles Poh. Apelles, welcome to the Living Room. Good morning.
Hi Stanley, glad to be here.
Glad to have you back after quite a few years.
Yes.
The last time we were, I believe, talking about financial planning.
Yes,
along those lines.
Financial planning.
Yeah, but today it's going to be a brand new topic altogether because it's not about financial planning. And I think that would be topmost on many people's minds when I introduced you to be a financial planner. And they're wondering, why haven't you written a book about financial planning? But rather you have written a book that is really to inspire people to live life as best they can. Now, tell us more about what led you to write this book.
Well, a couple of years back, a friend just talked to me and said, you got so many ideas and stories in your mind, because I do a lot of training and seminars, so why don't you write it down in a book? And so that inspired me, so why not? If I ever leave this planet, I have something to leave behind. And so it took me 4 years to write, actually. And sometimes it's inspiration I write, and when there's no inspiration, then perspiration. And when there's no perspiration, then desperation. From the first letter to the first word to the last word, it took about 4 years.
4 years.
To write the book. Yes.
So you were definitely not in an urgent rush to get a book out, within 1 year or something.
Yes, it's like more something that's this brewing in the heart. And when you want to brew something like the Cantonese soup, it takes some time to come up with something and did a lot of corrections. And in the initial years, because I used to use hand write, and sometimes it's without the laptop, it's very difficult. We got to check whether you took 4 years, so you don't remember whether you've written this or you've not written that. So it's an interesting experience and learning journey for myself too.
Well, talking about writing and rewriting and editing, it sounds like like you talk about soup, double boiled soup.
That's right.
The Chinese are known for as well.
And,
but what do you want really your writings to achieve, to do for your readers?
This book is actually an inspirational book. It teach us how to find success, but not just success, but significance in life. And at the same time, balance. How many of us feel that sometimes life is not very balanced? And how many of us feel that we should exercise a bit more? Stanley, what do you think?
Oh, I think I exercise too much.
Too much.
I've got the other problem.
And so, I'm a Singaporean, and sometimes I think I should be called a Singaporean because we don't sing a lot. How many of us on Monday morning, you go to office, you start singing? I think we should be called Russians because we rush a lot. One time I was on the road I saw a friend who was rushing, and I asked him a question. I say, where are you rushing to? And he said, I'm rushing to relaxation center. So Singaporeans are rushed to relax, and then after they relax, they go and rush again. So this book helps us to find a bit more balance in life. At the same time, it's full of anecdotes, stories, and I play a lot with the language. For example, like some of the title chapters will be live a balanced life, not life on a balance. And for example, don't just fill your life with days, but fill your days. Do you bring joy wherever you go, or whenever you go?
Talking about legacy and leaving something behind. Well, we hope that, of course, when you go, you're not just leaving joy behind, but that you are bringing joy wherever you go now, here and now. Your book is also about a journey, and you've written about an inward journey, an onward journey, as well as an outward journey. Explain these different journeys that you refer to for us.
I believe success is a journey. It's found in the journey and not just on the destination. I view success as being holistic in nature. It's not just about the number of zeros in your bank account. It's not just about the titles in front or behind of you, but what you use the title for to help people. And it's not just about an organization where how many people you have under you. I think I would like to view success as holistic. They were arguing, whose father is greatest. So the first boy said, my father is very great. He's got 10 men under him. Then the second boy said to the first boy, my father is greater. My father is a manager. Yeah, yours is a supervisor. Mine's a manager. My father's got 100 men under him. And the third boy said, no, my father is greatest. My father has 1,000 men under him. And so the two other boys say, what's your father working as? And the third boy said, my father works as a gardener in a cemetery. So it's not just about how many people there's under us, but how many people we have served. So I look at success from that three-part journey. That is, firstly, the inward journey, which correspond to spirituality, which means what is within us, such as integrity, character, passion, compassion. And this is vital, this is very important, because they say that karma can get you to the top, but it's only character that can keep you at the top. The height of a building depends on the depth of its foundation. And so the depth of the foundation is what I will refer to as spirituality. They say that when a man first meets you, he judges you by your clothes. But when he leaves you, he judges you by your heart. So that's the first part of the journey of success. The inward journey, which talks about spirituality. The second part, which you mentioned just now, was an onward journey. Onward journey, which speaks about skills that you need to develop in life. I would like to refer the skills to three types of skills that we need to have. First is called the core skills. For example, a dentist must have the core skills of extracting teeth. And a teacher must be able to teach. Financial planner must be able to plan. So this is the core skills. But it's not enough just to have a core skill. You need to have soft skills, such as communication skills, presentation skills, soft skills, people skills. And the third skills you need to have refer to life skills, such as the ability to manage your time, to set goals, to have self-discipline, to be able to be persistent in your pursuits in life. So these three skills are very important, and we need that on the onward journey. And the last part is the outward journey, which talks about relationships, how we relate to people. And there's a saying that people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And each of us has a emotional bank account. Most Singaporeans would have a post bank account, and every one of us has emotional bank account. And when we affirm, we encourage, we speak well, we put a pat on the back of someone, a co-worker, we actually depositing into this emotional bank account. And you see couples, they can fall in love, they can fall out of love. When you fall in love, you keep adding to it. Positive strokes are given. But if the couple keep quarreling, fighting and disagreeing and having cold wars, you keep withdrawing. And finally, the emotional bank account becomes zero. And that's when the relationship splits. So that it's very important to understand this outward journey, this part of relationship. They say IQ is important, but I believe EQ is equally important. Right? In working life, you will realize that it's not just IQ. EQ is important. Right? In working life, it's not just what you know, it's who you know. And it's not just who you know, but who knows you. And it's not just who knows you, but who likes you. So these three parts of the journey, the inward journey, spirituality, onward journey, skills, outward journey, relationship, is vital if you want to be successful in life. Let me give you a permutation. For example, if a person has skills and relationship without spirituality, that is, lacks character, integrity, the success will not last. The second is, if he and skills, but without relationship, his success will be lonely. And lastly, if he has spiritual and relationship without skills, then his success will be limited. So you need these three and to become successful in life.
Right, and these three are what you call the three pillars of success.
Yes, the three pillars of success.
Right, and we're chatting with the author of Live Well, Love Much, Laugh Often, and this in its second edition as we speak with Apelles Poh. And this book is a bestseller already, an inspiring one at that. So if you need a little bit of a pickup in your life, regardless of what stage of life you're at or what issues you're currently facing, this would be a good pick-me-up book. Once again, it's titled Live Well, Love Much, Laugh Often. Now, just hearing you out in this first, 12 minutes or so of our chat, you already have brought up about 3 analogies. Where do you draw all these analogies from, as you compile them and put them in the book as well as you share them with us on national radio?
Yes, I'm an avid reader. I like to read, and I believe reading is to the mind what exercises to the body. And so over the years, I've compiled a lot of this. I buy books on anecdotes, illustrations, and I attend church and I listen to preaching and sermons. I will collect these stories and put it in the database, and then and I use it myself because I do a lot of teaching and training myself. So, and the best way to remember is to teach. And so over the years, I compiled this. Much of it is in my brain, and some of it is in books, and so it's a very useful resource when I do my training and writing this book.
Okay. Well, later on we're going to be finding out more about self-talk and the words and language that we use, just how powerful all these words are in driving us forward rather than, stalling our progress. We'll also be later on finding out more about laws of quantity, quality and multiplication. A little bit of mathematics at play later on our chat with you, Apelles. But really right now about chapter 3, where you talk about the power of the mind. Now share with our listeners some anecdotes you've used in this chapter to bring this point across about the power, how powerful our mind can be.
Yes, in chapter 3 I wrote that the title is As a Man Thinks So He Becomes. And our thinking will produce our feeling, and will produce our doings, which then produce a result. So if you have positive thinking, you tend to get positive feelings. You act on positive things, and you get positive results. And the truth is the reverse. So basically, we're talking about belief system. And it's what Eugene always say: change your perspective, you change your life. That's your belief system. Give you some examples, some anecdotes. There were two shoe salesmen from different companies. They went to a town to do some market research, and one of them, after doing the market research, called back his company, says, cancel all the orders. People here don't wear this kind of shoes. The other person from the other company says, double the orders, because there's nobody wearing this kind of shoe. It's a time for us to penetrate this market. So the same event, feelings and different results because of different belief system. Another example would be, have you been caught in a city, a jam, right? So if suppose two person goes in a jam and one and curse and swear and then get very upset over the jam. The other say, okay, never mind, I can't be like Moses, I can't open up the sea of cars. Yes. So he says, he listen to the music, he enjoys something, and then both of them leaves the jam after half an hour. Who suffers more? The first person. Yeah, psychosomatic diseases, right? Yeah. So it's our perspective or belief system that makes a lot of difference in our life.
Okay. Well, we're going to put a pause to that, but when we come back, we'll definitely get back into that jam and all other issues that will be related to living well, loving much, and laughing often. And that's something we hope for you. Stay tuned for more conversations up ahead with our guest today, Apelles Poh. Stay tuned to the Living Room on 938 Live. Are you living well, loving much, and laughing often? If you're not, we got some tips for you, courtesy of our guest in the living room today. His name is Apelles Poh, and this is a book that was launched, I believe, last year, but it's already in its second edition with, yes, bonus chapters and a little bit more. Not that the first edition wasn't good enough, I'm sure, because it really has so much in there that could be a great pick-me-up kind of a book that you might want to read and find in the bookstores to take home with you, because it's going to be such a boost and inspiration for you to get on with life that sometimes you'd be faced with episodes they just get you down. Well, we earlier on were finding out more from Apelles about why he has decided to put such a book together, and he is, by the way, a financial planner by profession, but really coming up with a book that inspires many others, and not just talking about financial planning and financial intelligence, which is a brand new chapter, by the way, in the second edition of the book. So we get further in chats and conversation with Apelles Poh in this part of the living room, finding out more about now self-talk and words and language that we use. Now, just how powerful are these words that we speak to ourselves in driving us forward rather than stalling our progress, and how should we speak to ourselves? So we hope you're speaking to yourself, sometimes audibly, sometimes not. We hope it's not, because sometimes people just look at you strange if you do speak aloud to yourself. Please tell us more about the power of words and the language that we use ourselves to talk to ourselves.
Yeah, Bee Gees have a song called Words, right? It's only words, and words are all you have to take your heart away. So words are very, very powerful. We can take our hearts away, and words can heal or can hurt us. Words can build or tear. Words can stir our or stifle our imagination. So it's very important to understand the language we use on ourselves. For example, the word stress. A lot of people say I'm stressed. When you say stress, you are like connoting that there's something outside of you pushing down on you and you're feeling very down, very stressed. I don't use this word stress, I use stretched.
Stretched.
Because when I say stretch, I feel that I'm growing within me against the pressure that's outside. I'm growing as a person in the pressures of life. So I rarely use I'm stressed. I just say I'm stretched. So the word can cause a lot of difference in our life. For example, like we would use a certain like furniture, we can say it's junk. Some people call it antique. Some label is old, others say it's a vintage. The glass can be half empty, half full, remember?
Yep.
The piece of music can inspire or expire us. Some say this is cute, others say it's ugly. Some see as failure, but others see as a feedback to better their performance. Some people call this shit, but others call it fertilizer and make a fortune out of it. So it really depends on the words we use. And it's very important to mind our language. Remember the comedy show in the 80s, Mind Your Language?
Mr. Brown.
Yes. So we must mind our language because many times our language actually limits us rather than lift us up. Give you an example, no time. A lot of people say no time. Three main things when I talk to Singaporeans, they say they have no time to plan, they have no time to exercise, they have no time to read. We got to make time for the important things. Exercise, for example. I exercise intentionally every week, about 3 times a week. I do brisk walking. And of course, when I come home from work, 10, 12 hours, I feel tired. I mean, who comes home work and I'm so fresh, I want to exercise. But I have to be intentional about this, And so, and during the exercise, I do brisk walking. There's an hour of brisk walking, it's about 4 kilometers. So it's very healthy. So you got to make time. Exercise is one of those things you got to make time. It's like a jar. And sometimes if we fill the jar with sand, and sand is like the irrelevant things of life, like watching too much television, series after series, sitting on the same couch that it recognizes your shape. and when we want to put a stone, which is something that's important in, we can't push it in because it's full of sand. Why don't you do it the reverse? You take the jar, you put the stone first, the important things. You schedule exercise in, you schedule meeting friends with first. Then you still can fill the jar with sand. You can still fill up with those. It's important to do that because exercise will actually add years to your life and add life to your years.
I like the illustration about the stone and the sand. I think that makes so much sense. I'm sure that story is also found in the book, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we've got good news for our listeners because we've got 3 copies courtesy of Apelles to be given away. This book is titled Live Well, Love Much, Laugh Often, Reflections to Empower Your Life Journey. And I believe the second print will be on its way to you if you were to tell us the title of this book. Okay, the title of Apelles' book. This is a bestseller. It was launched last year, second print already out. Tell us the title of this book, and if you missed the title that I just mentioned, don't worry, I will still be mentioning it throughout the rest of our conversation with Apelles Poh, who is, by the way, author of Live Well, Love Much, Laugh Often. This is the Living Room on 938 Live, and all you got to do is to drop us an email to 938 Live. livingroom@938live.sg. The email address again is livingroom@938live.sg. Tell us the title of the book that Apelles has written, this national bestseller, and it's a book of inspirational quotes and stories, gleaned from, taking 4 years really to be put into this book. The covers, once again, of Live Well, Love Much, Laugh Often. So all you got to do, drop us an email with the title of the book, and we'll get back to you for 3 copies there to be given away courtesy of Apelles Poh. Now, Apelles, we also want to move on to talking about laws. You've got a chapter there on laws, which I'm surprised to find because this is not exactly a law book, but you've got this chapter that talks about the laws of quantity, the laws of quality, and multiplication, and what we should be striving for. Tell us more about this.
This chapter is on the law of sowing and reaping. And I've talked about these 3 laws. First of all, the law of quantity. For example, when you sow an acre of wheat, you will get an acre of wheat. You won't get 10 acres of wheat. So this law is about actually working hard. So we need to ask ourselves the question, are we working hard or hardly working? So time is life and life is time, right? When we waste time, we waste life. And I heard this story very interesting. There was this a young insurance agent that joined the company and rookie, and she was top first year. And then there was an old agent say she's just lucky. Second year she was top again, and the old agent said she's again lucky. Third year she's top again, And the old agent's very lucky at this stage. So he went to ask her, why are you so lucky? You come up tops 3 years. Then she said this, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So this is about the law of working hard. There are three types of swimmers in a swimming pool. First is we call it look, get the sun on them, look good. The second one is called the feel good. They put the suntan lotions, they go in the pool, and they let the water caress them. The third group of swimmers is called the do good swimmers. They actually put the suntan lotion and they swim the laps. So of these three, which one have the most benefit? The do good swimmers. So the law of quantity, you got to do the quantity, you got to put in the day's work, or more than the day's work sometimes, to achieve the result. Secondly is the law of quality. The first law talks about working hard. The second law talks about working smart.
Smart.
Yeah. For example, when you sow apple seeds, you can't expect oranges, can you? So when you sow apple seeds, you get apples. So what we get out of life depends on what we put into life. The law of quality, right? We put, so if we leave a field barren and we don't do anything with it, what will happen? It will just be a field of lalangs, weeds and waste. So I think it's very important in this aspect that we could continue to upgrade ourselves to learn. Life is for learning. Learning is for life. And in my own journey, I doing insurance planning, and then I studied for my certified financial planner. I did a master's in financial planning. I went for the Toastmaster Club to improve my public speaking. I did as much as I can to improve myself, because you see, your business grow as much as you grow yourself. So this is a law of quality.
So would we then be striving for multiplication? Because that sounds like, putting in, I wouldn't say minimum, but reaping more than you actually had planned for.
Yes, if you do the first two law, that is, if you do the law of follow the law of quantity, do as much as you can, and you do the law of quality, be as good as you can be. Eventually, the law of multiplication will set in. So, for example, like you see the farmer, he plants apple seed. What's the cost of an apple seed? He plants it. It's very cheap, right? So he puts it in the ground, he tills it, he waters it. Finally, he gets apples. And what's the cost of apples? How much can he get? See, there's a multiplication from a seed to apples. So understand in life, if we follow the law of quantity and the law of quality, eventually the law of multiplication will set in. And this I experienced in my own career, Initially, I really put more than the hours that I do, 10, 12 hours, and I study for myself to grow myself. And today I'm blessed to be the top 1% in the industry, in the financial planning. So it says if you want to see the future, just look at what you are sowing into your mind, relationship, your skills, and your life today. This is the law of sowing and reaping.
Okay, are you sowing? And if you are, make sure you are sowing on the right kind of ground as well, I suppose. Your book's also a very good, relevant read for seniors. I mean, this book, of course, is applicable with useful, advice and reflections for anyone and everyone, regardless the age. But especially for seniors, I sense there's a soft spot for those getting in years that you have for the seniors. What are your most salient thoughts and words of seniors tuned in?
Seniors, my mom is about 84 years old, and I have very, very healthy respect for seniors. And I always believe that the mother's love is one of the most powerful love on earth. They never give up. Yeah, I got a friend who's a prison warden. He says sometimes the last person to give up on the prisoner, the last person who will still be there, wouldn't give up, is the mother. So I think for seniors, I got an interesting humorous encounter. I got one friend who was 65 years old. He said to me, he's got a great sense of humor. He said, Apelles, the older I get, the more valuable I become. And he said, then I said, how so? He said, the older I get, I'll have more silver in my hair, more gold in my teeth, more gas in my stomach, and more stone in my kidney. Then he said, with the price of commodities going up, I will be more valuable. And I think for seniors, a good sense of humor, accept limitations that physical. And I think I like to quote this American actor John Barrymore. He says, "A man is not old until regrets have taken over the place of dreams." And Norman Vincent once said this as experience. While waiting to see the president, Herbert Hoover, I asked his secretary how the chief was. Well, she answered, he's in there working hard. He works about 7 to 8 hours a day. But he's 85, I protested. Yes, she said, but he doesn't know that. And so to be active, be holistic in retirement. You see, the word retire can be broken down in 2 words. Retire, so change your tire. Huh? For 40 years of working life, you've been running on this Toyota Corolla tire. Change it to something better. Be meaningful. Be fruitful. Be active. And like my mom, who is 84, still taking care of us, still very concerned, and lots of love and warmth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, excellent points there for our seniors to take away with them. Very quickly, closing thoughts of encouragement for those who need a little bit of a pickup, a little bit of nudging to get on with life, please.
I think there's two things I'd like to conclude is, firstly, look at the brighter side of life. Because what you see in life is often what you get. Let me share a story, a quick one. Yeah, there was this golden retriever was told about a palace of 1,000 museums, and so he was very keen to see what is it. So he journeyed high and low and finally reached the museum. He was very excited. He was smiling. He was wagging his tail. So he walked into the museum of 1,000 mirrors, and lo and behold, 1,000 dogs were smiling at him. So he said to himself, yeah, this is a nice place. I like it. His friend, a black Doberman, also wanted to visit this place. But when he reached this place, he was very suspicious. His tail was taut and he was very growling. And when he went into the museum, 1,000 dogs was growling, staring at him. And he said to himself, I don't like this place. So look at the bright side of life, because often what you see in life is what you will get. And I'll conclude with, develop an attitude of gratitude, because you can never be unhappy when you're grateful.